By the way, we only have cards and nothing but cards. There's literally no news. There's too many cards.
It's too many cards.
There's too many cards. And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of V-Time, episode 186. Look at that timing.
Oh.
Just letting me know if there's a video to schedule a video. But there is no video because we're recording the video right now. Oh, boy, we got a jam-packed episode. It's literally nothing but cards. 11 cards got leaked on Tuesday, plus a whole new ride line in a deck on Thursday, which means we're just talking about all those. Not much news, so we're just going to focus on the cards of the days as well as the Tuesday and Thursday streams. You can see Alex fully excited.
I'm just like, I'm ready for the big bubba.
I know, right? But anyway, without further ado, let's go straight into it.
Oh yes, package for Mr. Top Deck Heroes.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Top Deck Heroes. Mr. Top Deck Heroes package. Man, another one? What is with this guy? Mr. Top Deck Heroes. Again.
Oh, Meldy again.
Mr. Top Deck Heroes. Package. Oh God, thank you. That was heavy. What's in that one?
Oh, trading cards.
Cards. Was every one of them cards?
Yeah.
How can you afford that?
Oh, that's interesting you say that. I got it from this baseball pit.
Secret.
Man, these people are crazy.
It's no secret. 50 cards. Use code TDHeroes for a discount.
Starting us off, we have something that at first we thought was interesting, and then we realized every single one of these decks is going to be getting one. You know what that is?
Some fun Blitz Orders.
Yeah, some fun Blitz Orders indeed.
What I find more fun about these Blitz Orders is that they're putting like random units as like key cards for the art of these cards.
Some of them are random, some are not. What do we got today?
You got the Decisive Determination is in this hand. It's an interesting name. Anyways, it's a grade 2 Blitz Order that says play this card if you have 3 or more rear guard. If you have 3 or more rear guards, choose one of your units being attacked, and it gets power plus 15 until the end of the battle. If your opponent's Vanguard was placed by a card's ability this turn, it gains 30k instead of 15.
So we already saw this type of effect on a Stoicheia Blitz Order that said exactly the same thing, just had a different activation condition. So we already discussed these, where they go. We don't have to go discuss them again. It's mostly for Dragon Tree, against Mass, and stuff like that. It's not a bad power creep card, but against power creep like Gandiva and Velissa, it's not doing much.
The problem is this is a Blitz Order, which means you only get one of these a turn.
Correct.
And you're also fighting using this over Elementaria Sanctitude that turn.
You're not wrong. Anyway, moving on. We got more cards to cover, more interesting stuff, more, if I remember correctly, anti-Dragon Tree support, maybe not. Oh, it's more of the ride line things, right?
Yeah. So you got Pump Radish Cup. It is a grade 1 auto when its unit is placed on rear guard, cost Counterblast 1, and put a grade 3 from your drop or hand. Was your hand drop? Solar drop, my bad.
Solar drop.
That was in your right deck originally, and put it back there face up. Choose a card with the original shield. Choose a card with original shield 15,000 or more, or 15,000 period, from your drop and put it to your hand.
So it just gets shield.
Yeah. Correction. It gets you more than likely a trigger, a crit, heal, or front.
And it activates your whole, if you have a Vanguard with the same name as a card face up in your ride line type abilities that, we're starting to see a lot in this set 13.
Yeah.
So overall, not bad. Like the other one we talked about, the one that you hated, was a draw card. Now it's add a shield to hand. So it looks like most of these activators are gonna be plussing you or helping you in some way, shape, or form. We haven't seen 3 of the other nations, but hey, who knows how they're gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we got one more Sukai card that got leaked with that little Radish.
Yeah, it's got Tier Knight Esperus. It is a grade 2 common. Auto when this unit is placed on rear guard from hand. If your ride deck has a face up grade 3, it's the same name as one of your Vanguards. Cost Soul Blast 1, discard a card from your hand. Choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop and call it to rear guard.
Here it is, okay, player. You tell me how well this works if you manage to meet the condition.
I mean, it's like Diantha, but it's a Soul Blast and you get to discard a card. It's a grade 2. Only issue is it's placed from a hand, so it's not placed from anywhere, and you have to discard a card. It's alright.
I mean, for a common, I can kind of get it. There's a lot of higher rarities that do this exact effect, but better. But because they're higher rarities, for a common, putting all these restrictions on it kind of makes sense.
Exactly.
Well, enough of commons. We actually need to talk about important stuff. Like we said, Tuesday showed us not only everything with 11 cards, but also a lot of things that were kind of unexpected. So we know from last week that we saw Alden.
Mm-hmm.
But Alden didn't come alone. Alden got his own ride line. That fucking bastard.
Yep.
Hey man, Grand Grace and Favernil just looking like, bruh, the F.
The F.
But his ride line is very interesting. We start off with Knight of Heavenly Admired Admis. Simple, straightforward, your normal starter. I don't think we're ever going to see a starter with a different effect. However, this is where stuff starts getting interesting because we got Knight of Heavenly Lasting Tranquilia. It's a grade 1 that says auto when this unit is rode upon. Not by a specific unit, just rode upon. Reveal 3 cards with different grades from hand. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 1 or less unit card from among them, call it to rear guard and shuffle your deck. If you did not call a card, you may call this card to rear guard. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's here's 3 different grades in my hand, and I either get a free unit or get a free unit.
Yeah.
I love how it took you a second to realize what I said.
Yeah. It processed for like a whole 2-second buffer.
So in a normal deck that has decent ratios, how hard it is to reveal 3 different grades?
Here's a good way to look at this. How often does Jejuled get it set up? What this ratios?
I mean, so we're talking about soul and hand. That's 2 different things.
I get that, but you still got to build your deck with the ratios in mind, because once you soul blast them, if you don't have a way to get them back, you need to find a way to get your ratios back in there.
I mean, you're half right. Just by having the ride line alone, you already have 0, 1, 2 in soul for Jejul, which means you only really need... Like if you make a whole Jejul deck that has nothing but grade 3s, but have ways to put the specific cards 0, 1, and 2 back into the soul every single turn, you can make a whole Jejul deck that's nothing but grade 3s. It's just not smart, but you can.
But I'm saying, when you're building your deck, you kind of have to have that mindset.
Well, yeah. But most decks are actually pretty well balanced. Like, you don't think because of the ride line, okay, Bastion and some other decks that are specifics aside, most decks are decently balanced in their ratios. So, again, from the top, in a normal hand that you open up, by the time you get to turn 2, how many times do you see 3 different grades in your hand?
3 different grades? Yeah.
Decent amount, because you might see 1 trigger, and then you might see 1 grade 1, and then you might see a grade 3 or grade 2, or grade 2 and a grade 3 and a grade 0. It's like you got 4 grades to work with, and you just need to see 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I can see this working most of the time. Speaking of which, That's now the only card that does the exact same thing. We got Clear Sky Knight Sodius. He is basically a carbon copy because he says, auto, when this unit is wrote upon, reveal 3 cards with different grades from hand. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 2 or less unit card from when call the rear guard and shuffle your deck. If you did not call a card, you may call this card to rear guard. There is one downside of both of these ride lines for it's not Altmile. Oh god, it's Alden. Thank you. Too many A's. Alden's effect is Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, and then his on attack effect is also Soul Blast 1. You're playing a ride line that says, you know what, I missed out. You know what, I missed out. Just like, you need Soul. Don't Soul Blast.
I mean, you're already probably going to be Soul Blasting because you're probably going to get Calbray off of this and use his skill to get more cards out of your deck.
You're not wrong. So overall, the ride line's not bad, and it's generic. Like, literally, it just says when this unit is wrote upon. It doesn't have to be Alden. It can be literally anything. So that we now see probably the best generic ride line inside of Keter.
Yeah, because this really doesn't need anything other than you just playing different grades, which most Keter decks other than Bastion are going to want to do. Even
Bastion Accord now, because he's not restricted to grade 3s anymore, he can make a deck that just runs other grades and it works.
True.
So overall, interesting stuff for this Alden ride line. I can't wait to see how the actual effect pans out, because I've used top 5 effects a lot, like a lot, and a lot of times I look at top 5 and I see nothing but triggers. So it's like, Anyway, that's not where it ends. He got 2 more cards of support. Alex, what do you get?
Sage of Civilization Duron. It's a grade 1 rare. Auto, when this unit is placed on rear guard, this unit gains power plus 2,000 until end of turn. And if you have a unit with Alden in its card name, you can have it a cost to discard a card from your hand to countercharge 1.
You know, this doesn't sound bad at first. There's one thing about this card that I realized later.
No?
Do you by chance remember an eagle or a bird that we covered not too long ago?
Maybe.
So there was...
Oh, the one that draws a card for a counterblast when it's discarded.
For a Soul Blast when it's discarded, correct.
There's Soul Blast, yeah.
So hey, look. A card that says discard a card from hand.
So you want to hear a funnier card with that?
Sure.
Wayward Angel.
I thought Wayward Angel was youth restricted.
Nope, it just says when it is discarded, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1 to call it to a back row.
Oh, there we go. So you got either the Eagle to Soul Blast draw or Wayward Angel to Soul Blast and get a 10k booster / attacker that you can just pull to the front row.
No, it has to be bet to the back row, but yeah.
I mean, you can call it in the back row and then move it to the front row because this is also a be a main phase effect.
Yeah, you're true.
So there's options here. Overall, not bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, ditch a card counter charge is kind of like iffy sometimes, but this is Alden we're talking about. Like, he CBs way too much.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all he got.
We got Sharpness Knight Ermac. It's a grade 2. This one is another rare. Auto, when each unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a unit card with Alden... Oh, it doesn't have to be Vanguard. Unit card with Alden in its card name. This unit gains power plus 5k until the end of turn. If it was placed by your card's ability, it gains 15k instead.
Yeah, you can really splice the original Alden with this in any deck and just have a 15k attacker if you want. Granted, you don't get to draw 2 cards, but still.
Yeah. Interesting.
It is. Now, for the grade 3 Alden deck, it helps a lot because, like we talked about last time, it doesn't see much power increase outside of sources. So now you have this, and this is a power increase. Like, do it right. Use his skill, Canvas 1, Soul Blast 1, call him to rearguard. He's immediately a 25k attacker, and you draw 2 cards. So, not bad. Probably needed for that deck. Moving on, we got one more Alden double rare.
You got a Clear Skies Dragon, Light Leads Dragon. Dragon.
Dragon.
It's a grade 3, continuous rear guard. If you have a unit with Alden in its card name, it gains a boost. And then auto rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked or boosted. Cost, put another rear guard in the same column as this unit into your soul. Choose one of your units with Alden in its card name, and it gains power plus 10k until the end of turn. Now this card is good with OG Alden. Because it Elders affects a unit with Alden, and it's a grade 3.
Pretty much. Oh, let me just let me just write a chord. Attack with Alden boosted by this. Here's a Alden does 33 column immediately. You know, let me use a chord. Let me restand the Alden after putting this card into soul and giving that Alden 10k overall, and then his own effect 5k again, which means here's a 35, potentially with drive checks. Man, this card is just versatile. You need to run an Alden, be it the Alden deck or just Alden in a deck. But it's overall good, like power, soul, boost. There's not much wrong with this card. Jesus Christ.
Not really.
All right, so that was it for the Alden stuff. And then came the tree stuff. Now, we know that 2 cards, like we mentioned last week, that we need to cover are not only the new grade 11, but the new grade 11 set order. But what we didn't expect is 2 more support cards to be revealed on stream that are for the Dragon Tree deck. And one of them is either just let's finish and color in the circle, or foreshadowing. Because we literally got in Keter, Dragon Tree Wretch, Gaela Shida. You try to pronounce that. Daishak?
Daishak, maybe. Yeah, Daishak.
Whatever. It's a grade 2 10k double rare, and as you might assume, being a grade 2 double rare Dragon Tree Wretch, it is the auto when this unit is placed on rear guard, counterblast one, soul blast one, choose one of your rear guards without a Dragon Tree marker on it, and put a Dragon Tree marker on it. Search your deck for up to 1 mask of the Hydragrum, really put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Fuck.
So either to just give this just to give it to us, or we're getting a mask somewhere in Keter.
Pretty much.
I don't know where.
So there's a speculation going around that the Dragon Tree and the way the names are and what the aesthetic and all that is following this. I don't know what it is. If I find a picture of it, I'll put it up on over my face right now. But it's basically like a chart or heavenly thing, or I don't know what it is. And through this, people are assuming that we are going to get a Dragon Tree Wretch Grade 2 to round up all 10. So we might see one more for Dragon Empire very soon. Now, while that is rounding up of the Dragon Tree Wretches, and every nation is getting a grade 2 and a grade 1, it kind of makes sense. I suggest you not do that with that mic that is killing people's ears right now.
Didn't know it was picking that up.
Yeah, good sir. You change mics. It picks up a lot more than you think.
Fair enough.
Anywho, what I was saying is, with all the roundup, it kind of makes sense because when we read the new Dragon Tree, it actually can see it be played without it actually having a mask unit. On the other hand, though, if we ever get a Keter mask, we got the grade 2 now.
Yeah.
Speaking of cards that support stuff, we got another card or another archetype of a card in a technicality that we didn't know we were going to get into Santa Common slots that are going to be all across all nations apparently. Because we got Inhumane Dragon. It's a grade 3 15k. And the effect is very reminiscent of the last grade 3 15k we talked about. Continues, this unit cannot be ridden and cannot be normal called to rearguard without a Dragon Tree marker. Continuous rearguard during your turn. This unit gets 2k for each Dragon Tree marker on your rearguard. And here's the difference. Continuous rearguard during your turn. This unit gets 2k for each of your rearguards. The fuck? It doesn't even say other. It just says each. It's like an immediate, like just calling it to a Dragon Tree marker where it's legally can be called, it is already a 24k attacker without doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, the fuck? I know power creep's been a thing with Gandiva, Ballista, and, you know, Jets and Masai and all those other cards, but we're getting kind of out of hand right now.
And you know the funnier part about this card? Is before you can kind of go, okay, cool, but we know where the power cap of this card is. Cards we're going to talk about later, not anymore. You can get past 7.
Pretty much. Now we're going to talk about the big boy himself. So, the grade 11. Nothing too special. We kind of assumed from the episode you got to ride him, which means in all technicality, he is a turn 4 card. I don't know how many decks are going to let you live past turn 3, but you know what? If you get to turn 4, you get to do him, and we have Supreme Dragon Tree of Annihilation, Griffo Gila Vertex. Or Vartex.
Vartex, yeah.
Bang. Ta-da, grade 11, and as you probably have noticed, scrolling at you over there, it's an 18k base Vanguard. Oh, where's that kid or grade 3 when you need it? Anyway, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 different abilities. And we're going to start off with the first one. Auto, when this unit is placed by riding it's just, you know, when it's placed by riding, put a Griffo Eshtalugui token into your order zone. Alex, I hope you remember how I said that, because you're going to read the token when we get to it.
I'll probably forget by then.
Oh, there we go. So the set order, that is the set order, is basically how you get it. And it's a token. It's not a set order that you have in deck. So rejoice, you don't have to fill this deck up with more deck cards. Then we go to the second effect. Continuous Vanguard. During your turn, this unit gets power 10k critical plus 1. Now, you might think that's a downgrade to original Griffo, but you gotta think he's an 18k base that gains 10k in a crit, which means he's basically the same as if Griffo original had 3 Dragon Tree markers.
But wait, there's more.
So there's fucking more for people that read ahead. Continuous Vanguard, if the total number of Hydragrum and Dragon Tree markers on your rear guard is 10 or more, this unit gets power 10k in parentheses, active on opponent's turn 2. We'll unpack that in a second. Let me just read the final effect, and then we can unpack this whole card. Auto Vanguard, once per turn. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose a face-up Calamity card from your right deck and remove it. If you did not remove a card, choose a trigger unit from your right deck, reveal it, activate all of its trigger effects and additional effects, remove it, and stand all of your rear guards on rear guards with Dragon Tree markers. Oh boy. So Alex, what all is the implication of this card?
So first things first, let's go from the top down. So if all the conditions are met, means you're getting a plus 20k to this, which means it's a 38k double crit.
Yep.
Which you said earlier is like, oh, you only get 10k, but the other 10k matters because that's basically like having 6 Dragon Tree markers.
Pretty much. 5, but yes.
Well, 5. But regardless, it's like, well, cool. Well, you couldn't have gotten past that anyway, so... Well, you could have technically, but regardless, you're not sacrificing much at that point once you meet all the conditions. You also, if everything is met, you're sitting on a 28k body on your opponent's turn.
Who needs defensive triggers? My Vanguard's a defensive trigger.
Unless you have 10 markers from some magical reason you gotten that far into the game. We'll talk about how you can do that later. you have to have rear guards for this, so retired decks are gonna probably never let that happen.
Probably never gonna let that happen. You're not wrong. Unless,
But-
set 13 hasn't finished leaking yet. They might introduce a card that just says anything on a Dragon Tree marker has resist.
But man, rip Maelstrom and rip what's it called? Flagberg. They're never hitting. they're never hitting you.
Okay, so let's unpack the whole 10 Hydragrum and Dragon Tree markers. So all the Dragon Tree wretches, the grade 1s and the grade 2s, are Hydragrums. All the Griffo are Hydragrums. So there's your Hydragrums. Dragon Tree markers are self-explanatory. However, all the Dragon Tree wretches say that make a Dragon Tree marker to a rearguard that does not have one. Therefore, if you're only using those wretches, and let's say you wrote in grade 10 Griffo, you only really can make 5. Which means the only way to really activate this ability is to just fill your board. And then like Alex said, at retired decks just go, and that one's gone, and you're dropped down by 10, and we're fine. Now there is ways to circumvent this. The Blitz Orders we got in set 11 are Blitz Orders that just make a Dragon Tree marker once you use them. And you can use them in the early game. Griffo grade 10 calls to any rearguard. Doesn't have to be empty, which means if you use the Blitz Orders, you can call over with the Dragon Tree grade 10 over the markers that you've already made. So therefore stacking. We showed this in the videos when we did you can stack markers.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, Blitz Orders are a once per turn thing. Therefore, if you are going first, that is literally the only way you're going to be able to do it first, right? Because if you go second, no, even second, regardless, first or second, you'll really only be able to activate 2 Blitz Orders, because by the time you hit turn 3, you're already riding grade 10 and you're already making the true Dragon Tree. So let's say you made 2 Blitz Orders, you got lucky, you saw them in the early game, huzzah. And then you ride grade 10 and you make 2 more Dragon Tree markers, and you'll have 2 circles with 2 markers each, so that's 4. You fill the back row up, that's 3 more, that's 7. So you really only need 3 more rear guards at that point. And you can still make a full board, and then your opponent has to kill 3 units for you to lose power. So not bad. There's one more way to kind of double stack markers.
Yes. Oh, one more thing before we cover that card. Fun fact about the grade 11 is once you're past your over trigger, because it matters when we talk about this effect, you can activate other triggers that might wind their way up into your ride line.
You're not wrong. You're spoiling this card. However, the only thing I'm going to say on that note is how many times have we gotten literally 1 turn away from activating the grade 10's full effect?
Well, better question is how many times have we gotten there?
Once.
Because we might be getting there faster.
Hold up. No. Hold up. You're not getting where I'm trying to say. We've only gotten there once. We've gotten almost there like 6 or 7 times. My point being, even if we're going to speed up, hint, hint, how many more turns do you think we're going to either live or the opponent's going to live? Bro, you're activating a trigger through that effect once, and that's it.
If
read
it
the damn
magically
order.
happens.
Read the damn order.
You got Griffo Eschartigility.
It's actually Griffo, but yes. But
Okay, yeah.
Esukatology, whatever. It's a token.
Yes. Reminder text that just represents token can't be in your deck. Auto order zone. At the beginning of your main phase, you may search your deck for up to 1 trigger unit, and you put it face up into the right deck and shuffle your deck. If you put a card, choose a Hydragrum from your drop, and you may call it your rear guard.
So
And then,
yeah, continue.
and then second effect is Act Order Zone. Once per turn, cost discard a card with Griffo and its card name from your hand draw a card, choose one of your rear guards, put a dragon tree marker, rear guard circles to put a dragon tree marker on. Then choose a face-up
put the top card of the deck.
Sorry. Put the top card of your deck into your damage zone. Choose up to one face-up. Face down. Choose up to one face-up calamity card from your right deck and remove it.
So yeah, hint, and it speeds up the mechanic.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't mention, but the art of the set order literally has all the grade 1 wretches in it.
All looking up at the freaking Dragon Tree 11.
Yep. We also didn't mention that the Dragon Tree went from having like a shit ton of heads to one head only.
Also went from being like just a giant boss unit to I'm going to encompass the whole planet.
It's not even encompass the whole planet. If you look at the art, and if I find a good version of it and pull it up on screen, it's coming out of the planet.
Which is ironic because technically in the anime, it's shot through the planet. So is that committing suicide in a sense?
Got no clue, man. However, let's actually talk about this card. So, there is some discussion right now going on inside of the ruling judge community. Basically, the comprehensive rules in English explaining basically state that your right deck, if you have one, has to comprise of cards from 0, 1, 2, 3, or can be comprised of Griffo Seed, orders, calamity orders that are from 1 to 3 each, and the Overtrigger. Now, the problem in the English side is the fact that it says cards. Therefore, in technicality, on the English side, you could run Griffo Seed, 1, 2, 3, and keep your Overtrigger in your deck. And then, if you really want to use the set 11 order and pull it out, you could. But then you have the Overtrigger in the deck while you're playing this thing. Now, however, thanks to having connections, and if any judge is watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, the actual proper translation / ruling for this is that you either have cards in your right deck that are Griffo Seed, Calamity from 1 to 3, and the Overtrigger, or you have unit cards from 0 to 3. That's the distinction. Unit cards and cards. So we're not going to cheese anything, and I'm pretty sure the English rulings will hopefully update and change to be proper, because even the Griffo Seed, the English version of it, has a reminder text on top that says you can have the Overtrigger, 5 cards, whatever, in your right deck. It doesn't say you have to, it says can, which is weird. Again, if any judge is watching this, please double confirm in the comments, or debunk, however you want to say it.
Dude, that'd be funny. Just you see somebody start or flip over to starter. It's like, oh, it's the Griffo Seed. They're playing Griffo. Joke's on you. It's just another Candy.
Exactly. So apparently, if you run Griffo Seed, you have to run Calamities and the Overtrigger. Well, that is, I think, how that goes. If I'm wrong, we'll fix it for the next time. But for future videos that we're gonna do of this card, and yes, we're gonna do all fucking 5. Yeah. We are gonna be putting the Overtrigger in our ride line. So how often we're gonna actually choose a trigger and put it over there, I don't know. I'm double reading the card as we speak. Search your deck for up to 1 trigger and put it in the finish and shuffle deck. If you put a card, you call a card, which means it's one of those, like, if you want a free unit on a bone, you gotta put a trigger from your deck into your, ride line. Or ride deck zone.
Random question.
Random answer.
The grade 10, what race is that?
It's also a Hydragrum.
Oh, cool. So it can technically get to your conditions and you can call it back out the next turn using the other effect. actually discard it.
Correct. So huzzah! Because if you go back one, the grade 11 is also a Hydragrum, so there would be no reason to assume the grade 10 was not. Hell, you can even call Griffo C. Griffo C is the Hydragrum.
Yeah.
So overall, that's on the first effect and the ride line and all that. Overall for the grade set 11, grade whatever. Okay, so I get 3 units in deck thin in all technicality. Granted, your deck thinning triggers that you want to keep in deck, but whatever. And then, just get to your thing faster by taking a face down damage and not even activating the trigger. It's a weird double-edged sword.
It is, but here's the thing. So, on your first Griffo Gear turn, you're removing 1, which means you have 2 more left.
Yep.
Which means if you just jump straight into grade 11 the next turn, you're still not getting the over trigger turn off.
No. It turned from a turn 6 deck to a turn 5 deck.
Yes.
Which is not bad, but you still gotta live to turn 5. Now, I will say, being a 18k body, potentially 28k body, having a 20k Blitz Order and such, it's not gonna make that hard. There's one more thing we forgot to mention about the grade 11 that kind of incentivizes you ditching the grade 11 for this ability. It does not have Persona Ride.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no reason to ride more grade 11s. You literally, once you're on the 11, every single copy of it is ditch fodder.
Or just throw it down as a rear guard.
That too. Hey man, it's an 18k body on probably a Dragon Tree marker. Bro, it's a 23k body just by existing.
Yeah.
So overall, not bad. We'll see in practice how this deck goes. What we're going to put it against, we have no fucking clue yet. We'll see. We're probably going to do it towards the end of set 13. And potentially put it up against some of the new stuff from set 13 and see how it does. Well, honestly, we're probably going to do that. But against the new Verena, the new Youth, the new Leonorn. Let's see here. And we just need to find Brink, which means probably Vanguard since it got. And just something from Dark Stages is getting shown in set 13. Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Anyway, with that grade 11 and all shenanigans, we gotta keep moving on to more commons and rares inside of set 13. Ain't that right?
You got Moon, Rabbit, Spectre, and Nava. So grade 1, auto rear guard. When this unit boosts, if your opponent's rear guard was retired by your card's ability this turn, choose one of your opponent's vanguards and it gets power plus. Is it plus or minus?
Plus, man.
Choose one of your, and this unit gains power plus 2,000 into the end of turn for every 2 of that unit's grades.
It's a thing we always have been seeing. Like, hey, look, you have a grade 11. Boom, power.
Yep.
Simple, straightforward. As such, simple, straightforward. We got more 15k bodies in Stalemate Dragon, the grade 3 15k Dragon Tree support common. Same old, same old. This card cannot be ridden and can only be called to a Dragon Tree marker. Continues during your turn. This unit gets power 2k for each Dragon Tree marker in your rear guard. And here's the kicker. Continues rear guard during your turn. This unit gets power 2k for every 3 cards in your soul. Why they gotta nerf it? Why they gotta nerf it?
Look, man, I'm not on the R&D team. I can't tell you anything. It's also a common, so.
Look, man, the Brink Gate one set 2k for each set order, which means at most you're gonna get 4k. You're not playing multiple set orders in any deck that has, markers, because even the Orpheus Mask is going and set orders goodbye. Gravidia Mask is going and set orders goodbye. So it's like, eh. And then you got this thing that's like 3 cards in Soul. Okay, Unica's never going to get there because it goes Soul goodbye. Drajul's going to keep losing power because it goes Soul goodbye. Greedon's going to keep losing semi-power because it also... No, actually, Greedon stopped doing Soul. So this might be a good card in Greedon. And then you got the fucking Keter one that just says, you know what? Fill the board. Here's 10k on me. For the easiest effect to do. And it's like, here's 10k extra.
And then probably the Stoicheo one's probably going to say for every like order and drop.
It's probably going to say for every 5 cards and drop, in all honesty.
That too.
And then the Dragon Empire card is probably going to say for every open rear guard your opponent has.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm already predicting. Put it down. Someone write it down. If those cards show up and I'm right, I owe myself a cookie. Anyway, moving on. We got a whole new deck to cover. Alex, trick or treat?
Yep.
That was an actual question.
Treat.
Cool. I give you a treat to read the first card.
Hop and Step Fennel. It is the starter for the deck. Same starter skills. The only time we're going to see a different one is Griffo.
Pretty much. Now, we're going to jump back and forth for these because of reasons. And I'm going to say we got the grade 1. Where is my only charm Fennel? It's the grade 1. And we're going to start seeing some interesting stuff here because this one says, when this unit is placed by riding from a grade 0 unit. Not Fennel, just unit. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 trick or treat. From among them, reveal them and put them into hand and shuffle the deck. Now you might be thinking, 2 trick or treat, but wait, you can only run 4. We're going to get to there. Let's read the grade 2 real quick.
We got with a Genuine Smile Fennel. Auto, when each unit is placed by riding from a grade 1 unit, look at the top 7 cards from your deck, choose up to 2 trick or treat from among them, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck.
It's the exact same effect. So, you might be asking, what is trick and treat? Not or. We've been misreading that, but yeah. Trick and treat. It should have been trick or treat, but I guess there's some sort of copyright error. Who the fuck knows? One thing to note about trick and treat almost immediately, and I'm going to put one and it's going to change, is that there are 2 arts for it. Why? Who the fuck knows? However, trick and treat. It's a normal grade 1 order that says continuous. You may have up to 16 trick and treat in the deck. Meteors, is that you? This is where it does get very interesting because it says play this if you have a Vanguard Fennel in its card name. Perform either of the following according to the number of times you played an order with the same card name as this card this turn. 1 time, your opponent chooses one of their rearguards and they may put it on the bottom of the deck. If they did not put a card, draw a card. 2 times, draw a card and countercharge 1. And then 3 times, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from your drop and call it to rearguard. So, Alex, how can you play a order 3 times in one deck?
Well,
in one turn.
We've gotten some cards in Lyrical that, let on place let you play additional normal orders. But the main way you're going to do this is by using the grade 3.
Pretty much.
We've got triple and treat. Trick.
Triple X trick Fennel.
Yes. It is continuous Vanguard. During your turn, you can play 3 orders and cannot play orders other than trick and treat or regalious pieces.
Yep.
I love how they put in regalious. So you can play regalious piece and trick or treats.
It says or, but correct.
Yes. Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks, if you play 3 or more orders this turn, cost Counterblast 1, and choose one of your rear guards until the end of the turn, it gains critical +1, and all of your front row units gain power +2,000 until the end of for each trick and treat you play in your drop.
In your drop.
Yeah.
All right, let me translate that because man, you You struggle there, good sir.
I'm trying to read. Good sir.
And not my fault. You have a small monitor. Anyway, when it attacks, not only do you give one of your other units a crit, you also give yourself a crit. So not only is this a double critical Vanguard, one of your other units is also double critical. And then your whole front row gains 2k power for every trick and treat in your drop. Which, if you manage to pull off this condition, that is a minimum of 3, therefore 6k to the front row.
Gandiva? Is it you?
I wish this was Gandiva. This is a little bit more tame than Gandiva.
Yeah.
Because you can only have 16, Gandiva can go definitely over 16.
Yeah. But on the top end, that means that this deck can go to 32 to the front row.
Pretty much. One thing to note immediately here is the fact that this is a 3-attack deck. There we haven't seen, or I don't remember seeing a support card that we're going to cover here in a bit that lets this deck attack multiple times. However, that is definitely circumvented with the fact that two of your units are getting crits already, which means if your drive check reveals another crit, they're basically all of the attacks are double crit from, from the battle forward. On top of that, there's one card I want to see if Alex remembers the effect of. Do you remember Jennifer?
Oh, yeah. Let you play a normal order from your drop.
Pretty much. By discarding a card from your hand, you can play a normal order on your drop. And then when that order would be put into drop, it would be put on the bottom of the deck instead.
I think it goes into your soul instead.
No. Because
it does go to the bottom of your deck because you used Ballista for this soul.
Correct.
Stuff.
Now, unfortunately, Jennifer. Actually, if you have, so I'm going to read Jennifer just in case, so we don't misquote anything. It's an act rearguard once per turn. If you have 4 or more units cost, discard a card from your hand, choose a normal order from your drop, and get any gets. This card can be played from drop, and when it will be put into drop after being played, put it on the bottom of your deck instead until the end of turn. So it just lets you kind of play the trick and treats from your drop without having to actually have them in hand, which means with one trick or treat, you can activate 2 of the effects, bottoming a card or drawing a card, and then drawing and countercharging at the same time.
Wait a minute. Can you bring out Jennifer again?
What? It's a once per turn, so you can only do it once, which means multiple Jennifers, huzzah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it gave you for the turn or if it's just that single order can be played. My bad.
Yeah, that's why I double read, because it had red text. No, the order gets the red text, and the order gets played and put the bottom of the deck. Which in all technicality is not that good because you lose basically 2k power, but if you don't have multiple orders, you just go.
Yeah.
Now, one thing to note about this card, or this deck in general, with the whole 16 clause, is anybody who's played Nordlinger knows that deck building is gonna be so hard. Now, before I mention 2 more spice cards, or I already mentioned 1 spice card, before I mention the other spice card, let's real quick read the support cards for this deck. Starting us off with a Haunted Spot Yastana. She's a grade 2 double rare for this deck that says, auto, when this unit is placed on rearguard during your main phase, if you play 3 or more orders this turn, cost Soul Blast 1, choose up to 1 normal unit with different card name from this unit from your drop and call it to rearguard. And then auto rearguard, when this unit attacks hits a Vanguard, search your deck for up to 1 trick or treat, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle the deck. So do you remember the third ability, or when you play 3 trick and treats, what happens?
No.
So when you play the third trick and treat, you get to choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop and call it. Like you can literally call this with the third trick and treat. Soul Blast 1 because you played literally 3 trick and treats because you called this, and get a column. Or just another front row attacker if you want to.
Who needs Melty or Alden when you have your own Alden?
I mean, you can still Melty from drop, Melties from anywhere.
True.
But you can this into Melty into something else, or can Melty into this into something else. Like Well, this deck can potentially just, start doing the little tumblies. However, again, deck space. I can legitimately see this deck being just nothing but orders and then a lot of one-ofs. Because as long as you can play your orders, doesn't matter what's in your drop, you can always get it back.
True.
Moving on, we got one more card to talk about for this deck, and it's a triple rare, Alex.
Yeah, but surprisingly, it's not just for this deck. Oh, no, this one's for this deck. The other one is the deck. Sorry. The art looks similar to the other card we're going to talk about.
I gave you a good lead up and you ruined it.
Anyways, we got Prank Explorer,
Crispina.
Yeah. Auto, when each unit is placed on rear guard, cost counterblast 1, search your deck or drop for up to 1 trick and treat, reveal it, put it into your hand. If you search your deck, shuffle your deck. Continuous rear guard during your turn. If your drop has 3 or more trick or treats.
It's double word, it's bad English.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, it gains power +5.
So it's a 13k that for Cannabis 1 basically gets you a trick and treat, which can either draw you cards bottom deck, counter charge, or just get you another unit on board.
Yep.
So just good. Hell, yeah, it's just a good card.
Yeah, it gives you, so when we talked about earlier with Jennifer, you play an order from drop. You use this, you get another one from drop. You just need another one in hand. Or deck, yeah. You just need to have another one in hand somewhere.
Alex, you literally just said the combo out loud and didn't even realize it. I have one trick and treat in my hand. I play it. I use Jennifer. I discard a card. I play the same trick and treat. It goes to the bottom of the deck. I put this card on rear guard. I counterblast one. I grab that trick and treat from the bottom of the deck. I play it again.
Oh yeah, true. So you just need one.
As long as you see Jennifer in this grade 1, you really need one. You're not getting most of your other abilities, but hey, you can at least get something.
I guess the last one will call you a card from your draw, so you can call the card we just talked about earlier and get it full board.
Pretty much. So overall, this deck is seeming to look interesting. I can see potentially a hand problem because you're playing a lot of orders. I can see a deck space problem, and I can just see a threat problem because, it's still 3 attacks. We're currently in a meta where if you don't have minimum 4 attacks, you're not doing much. Hence why Bob Segarra is not showing on the map anywhere. But overall, it still looks like a very interesting deck. And if you can just, find a lot of trick or treats, there is one merit. The ride line, if you manage to hit all of them, it's basically like a Minerva ride line where therefore you deck thin 4 cards. You can compress this deck a shit ton. Now, before we move on, there is one more card I want to mention. The name escapes me, but we did get notified of it. It's a grade 3 ghost card. I think came in set 2 of Lyrical.
I was going to say, there is technically a way to get a 4th attack in this deck.
How?
By ripping the Gray Elemental over Sugar.
Man, you can also get a 4th attack in this deck by having the overtrigger in your drop and running the grade 3 ghost cycle.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. What I'm talking about, do you by chance know what grade 3 ghost I'm talking about?
The cycle card?
No.
What? He says in set 2?
Yeah, I think. You would never know it because nobody ever ran it. It's a grade 3 that literally says, if this unit is placed on rear guard anywhere other than from hand, when this unit would attack, your opponent must call 2 more cards at the same time.
Oh yeah, they did get that card like that. But yeah, it never gets ran.
But now it can. And you can put a crit on it. And your opponent is forced to guard with 2 more cards at a hand for that attack.
That's kind of dumb. Not gonna lie.
There we go. Anyway, we're gonna close this off before it goes to an hour because we know we don't have any news. We kind of rant a little bit more. We're gonna talk about the grade 3 generic card that got leaked inside of set 4 of Lyrical, and is actually foreshadowing some stuff that I'm not happy about it foreshadowing, but we'll get there. We got One Night Witch Stressor.
Treasure.
Stressor. Yeah.
Treasure. It's just add an S on top of treasure. It's treasure.
It really is. Never mind. Anywho, it's a grade 2 triple rare that goes auto. When this unit is placed on rearguard, other than by a unit's card ability, if you played a normal order this turn, Soul Blast 1, look at top 5 cards of your deck, choose and reveal up to 1 card with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them, call it a rearguard, and this unit if it's a unit card, and put it into hand. If it's a normal order, shuffle the deck. We've seen these Dark States, Dragon Empire, and Stoicheia. No, Stoicheia, they got the Blitz ones. Keter got a card with the same effect. Its second ability, auto. When this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, this unit is placed this turn, can blast 1, draw a card, and this unit gets 10k until the end of the turn, making a 20k attacker on its own. I mean, it's overall just a good card. A good generic card.
Look, man, all I'm doing is looking over at the corner, and I'm just seeing Willista just eating good, man. Just eating good.
I'll give you one better for Fennel, because yeah, Velista's gonna eat good. Velista just plays in order, get the Soul Blast, calls this. Actually, it has to be by a unit card ability, by a non-unit card ability. So it has to be placed either from hand or by an order. So
yeah,
Velista, so Velista's own effect can't do it, and if you don't have it in hand, you're not getting the effect off.
Yeah, but the other effect though is if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, it's a draw engine that gives power while you're also doing.
I'll say this for Velista, I don't think they like that because Velista needs a CB to multi-attack. They don't really want to tap into that CB for effects like this.
Fair.
However, where I was going with this card in Fennel is, let me play my third order. Let me get this from drop. It was called by an order, therefore I activated, and I did play a normal order this turn. So let me Soul Blast 1. Let me look at top 5. Oh look, it's the other grade 2 we were talking about. Let me call it. Let me use its ability. Let me Soul Blast 1 and call another card from drop. So overall, Lyrical is looking interesting because any deck that plays normal orders, Magazine can, any deck that plays normal orders, period, can use this card because you just have to have it in hand. Some decks that can use the orders to call it will abuse it, but mostly if you have it in hand and you can play normal orders, go. So technically, Letitia can play it exactly.
And grab his stupid beater grade 1. He's gonna be looking for.
Exactly. Technically, Michu can also play it. Michu got a normal order that searches cards. It's still a normal order, so if you want to play it, you can. Magazine, I forgot her name, can play it. The Magazine deck can play it. So there's decks that can definitely utilize this, but Fennel and honestly, even Velista, probably the two that can mostly just go and say, I'll abuse the shit out of this. Anyway, with that Lyrical stuff covered, we only have one more card to conclude us here, and it's one of those same olds. Blitz Orders, grade 2, rare, Elade, anti-waiver. Ironically, it has Bat on the cover, which I'm actually happy about, because I'm starting to love this deck even more and more. I'm not going to play in the Blitz Order in the deck, but still, it's nice to see him being represented more.
I don't know if if that's foreshadowing things to come.
I know, right?
These cards on arts.
Anywho, its effect is simple. Play this if your order zone has a set order. So the easiest thing to do in Brengate. Choose one of your units that being attacked and it gets 15 until the end of the battle. If your opponent's Vanguard is placed by a card's ability this turn, it gets 30k instead of 15. Overall, these Blitz Orders are not bad for extra just shield in hand, but like you mentioned earlier, like they take away Elementarias, they take away other Blitz Orders you might play. Some of them's conditions are going to be hard, like the Stoicheia one. If you get board wiped, you're not going to activate it. The Keter one, not Keter one, the what do we see? Which one do we read? The Keter one, yeah. Right. What was the Keter one?
Yeah, Keter. If you have more units on the board.
Bro, we literally started with that card and I can't even remember what it does. 3 or more rear guards. So it's like the Stoicheia version, but worse. And then the Brain Gate one is like, you just have to have a set order. Your Brain Gate, you're fine.
Dragon Empire is probably going to say if your opponent has no
Two or less.
or two
Three or less,
yeah.
two or less, something like that, yeah. And then the Dark States one is probably going to say something along the lines if you have a certain amount of cards in your soul. Who the fuck knows? That we're going to wait and see. But for that has been it for the leaks. And as such has been it for this episode. So Alex, do you have anything else you want to add until we go into testing territory and slowly start prepping the fucking grade 11 decks? Plural?
I think that should be it.
Cool. So with that, we're going to end this episode here. Thank you very much for watching episode 186 of V-Time. If you like the episode, please like, share with your friends. Comment down below what you think, honestly, the rest of set 13, because we still got 3 big units to see, is going to be. But if you like what we do here, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell to be notified. Maybe even follow, maybe even become a member to get some awesome perks. But all that being said, I've been Philip.
This is Alex.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Woo! Please tell us some of you guys are going to build this grade 11 deck, because I don't want to play 4 grade 11 decks.
I'll build 2 of them. I got Dragon and I got Stewie.
I'll take Dark States, and I guess we'll figure out, we'll rope someone in, probably a lawn.
Yeah.